Hello, welcome to Hemingway's Playground. Today, we're going to take this frame, get it cleaned up, and do some custom paint work to it to make it one of a kind. There's some scuffs, some scrapes, and some dirt and grime on here. We're going to show you how we're going to get that cleaned up and get it ready to be a custom, one of a kind tandem gravel rig for myself and my kids to do some gravel races on. So come along and see what we can do to get this thing ready to be a custom, one of a kind gravel race rig for me and my kids. Welcome to Hemingway's Playground. Please like and subscribe.
Okay, to start here, we're going to pan across the frame and look at the different defects that are on there. You can see some scuffs, some paint chips right there, and some other dirt and grime on there. Unfortunately, my camera didn't focus very well, but you can still see that yellow paint transfer, some red and brown scuffs on the top tube there, and other scuffs around the frame. But this is kind of our before we work on the frame. Again, looking for scuffs. There's that grime right there in front of the C, and a black scuff on there. That white scuff on that top tube there.
As we look at the other side of the frame, we can see some scuffs, some paint transfer here. You can maybe see the yellow through there. As we look at the top tube, lots of paint chips and nicks through here. And I got some gunk stuck in here. We'll work on getting that off. We'll see if we can't fix that paint there. Another little scuff paint transferred there. A little bit of a scrape here. Not sure if that'll come off or not. Not sure if you can even see that in the camera. I got some more of that yellow transferred there. Another scuff. That might even be a little ding in there. I didn't see that one before. That's a bummer. Overall, though, I think it's in pretty good shape. This is the main area that we're going to focus on, though. All right, so we've got this goo right here, and that's going to be the first thing we go to take off. It's this residue from a adhesive piece of Velcro they had on here. I took the Velcro off the other day, but now this adhesive is left on there. So we're going to take our Goo Gone and use that to clean that up. So we got our rag here. Just going to put some Goo Gone on there. Squirt that like so. And I'm just going to try and rub that on there. Hopefully that'll start to dissolve that adhesive. It says on here citrus solvent. Coming off for sure. Still some stubborn areas that aren't coming off, but most of it is. A little bit more of that on here. Find another clean spot on the rag. Some more. Apply that elbow grease. Almost off. Still some areas where it's at. Try using my other hand here. Hands get tired. It's looking a lot better, but still a little bit of residue in there. All right, so I found this plastic scraper, and I'm going to use that to get some of these last remnants of that adhesive off. Seems to be coming off pretty well with this. All right, I think I got all that adhesive off. So we're good on that one. So this large small sticker here for the size is been placed right over this Cannondale logo, and part of the customization I want to do is I want to paint the interior of that Cannondale logo red. So I don't want this sticker to be in the way. If it were up a centimeter or half a centimeter higher, probably be okay, but it's in the way, so I want to move it. So we're going to try moving that and using this plastic scraper to see if we can't get that off nicely. In the ideal world, we get it back to where it was, or put it back on here so we know what frame size it is. Just gently trying to lift that up though. That seems to be coming off pretty decently. Not much adherent left on the back of the sticker. I think I'll try setting it to the side to see if I can't get it back on here at the end. For now, we'll just set this to the side. And now we got to get that adhesive off of here using our rag with the Goo Gone on it. That Goo Gone softened that adhesive up. Can't quite tell if it's off or not. Nope, not off. See the scrapers peeling it off. All right, I think that's all I've got as far as gooey residue goes. But now we need to try to take some of the scuffs off, and we'll look into that in a moment. All right, so now we're going to work on getting rid of some of the scuffs, and we're going to take our turtle wax polishing compound here, and we're going to try to get rid of this black scuff right here. Not sure if you can see it well on camera, but there's a scuff across here, kind of starts here and goes down here, and there's one up there. Those are going to be the first things we do, and try to polish that off with the turtle wax. And it looks like there's one that kind of comes up across the top of the top tube here as well. So we'll work on those things. Hopefully camera will pick up the work that we do. Start with a little dab of turtle wax on our rag here, and we'll set the compound down and start putting the elbow grease to work. I got those areas pretty good. That looks like the major area of concern I had on the other side did come off pretty well. Good. So now we'll move down here to this yellow stuff. All right, so here's what we're looking at. You can kind of see the yellow zigzag, scratchy scuffs right up and through here. And then all this yellow paint transfer down here. And that's our next goal, to get that off and smooth this out. So this looks a lot more, a lot cleaner, and just that same gray color. So again, we're going to take our turtle wax, see if we can't buff that out with the turtle wax. Starting with those zigzag scuffs here. You can even see on the rag the yellow's coming off on there. So that's good, it's taking it off. It's a little hard to do in that corner. Just keep at it. Keep pushing the elbow grease. Maybe try a little trick, pulling the rag across it. Looking better. Still not 100%, but definitely improvements. Let's see if this helps at all. A little bit. Still some there. I wonder if the Goo Gone will help with that. Oh, it's not 100% gone, but it's really close. Let's try another little shot of the polish. So that's nearly gone. The naked eye, you wouldn't know it was there if you weren't looking for it. All right, where's another good spot to work on? All right, here's some more yellow transfer. There's a little bit up in here as well. That you can just faintly see on the camera, I think. That's one of the bigger spots there. So we'll get that off with our turtle wax. And there we go. I think it's all off of there now. No more yellow transfer. I actually don't know even where to look for it actually. So we'll look for another spot to clean up and buff. All right, so there's another little yellow paint transfer here. You might just be able to make it out on the video there. Maybe not, it's pretty faint, but it crosses over the E here and then goes up this way. So we're gonna try to buff that out here with some of our turtle wax. As I was doing that, I noticed some up in this D, right through here. Kind of see that little speck right there. So I'm gonna try to buff that out as well. That looks a lot better. Oh, I see some up on the top tube here, or on the top of the tube, I should say. There's some there, so I'm gonna try to get that while we're right here. Again, it's more that yellow, whatever it was, that was a little bit of paint transfer. I don't know if I know the previous owner used bungee cords to hold it to his bike rack. Probably not the best idea. I don't know if this yellow paint transfer was from the bungee cords or what. But that got it off. Cool, find some other spots. So we got a couple more scuffs here on the Cannondale logo. This Cannondale logo is on the stoker position. We got a scuff here in the A, kind of up on top there as well, and then down here in the O. I think these will buff out pretty easily, so we'll hit them with some of this polishing compound. Oh, looks like we got that cleared off. The O could just use a little bit more. All right, we've got some pretty deep scratches right through here on the chainstay on the non-drive side. So we're gonna see if we can get those to buff out a little bit. They're pretty deep, so I don't know if that will get much of them out. But then there's some marks on top here too that we're gonna try to get. Well, the marks on top came off pretty good. Now, although I should hit those a little harder. That didn't quite come out. It's less noticeable, but still there a bit. And I'm going to hit these marks on top. They're still lingering, but I think they'll buff out. A little more effort. That's looking better. You can still kind of see them on screen, but not too bad. All right, we got this kind of red color here, little scuff on the I here, some up here on this M and on the H. So we're just going to hit this whole area here and maybe see if we can't polish that up a little bit, see if that'll come out. Maybe these guys down here, there's a few little things down on the dropout region that could be buffed off, I think. Okay, the red came off nice. This mark of the eye isn't coming off too well. But I think it wants to. Come back to that in a minute. Let that kind of soak a little bit in there. Mark on the eye doesn't want to come off very easily, but it's coming slowly but surely. You can still kind of see it right in there. It's not too bad. That's a lot better. Still faintly there. I think for now that's all I got in me. All right, on the top tube here, we can see these scuffs and just, yeah, I guess the only way to say it is a scuff all through here. Up into here, we get into some more of the paint chips and scrapes. We're gonna deal with those later, but right now we're just trying to get these scuffs buffed off so that it just looks a lot cleaner and shinier and looks like a newer bike. So we're gonna work on that here. For the most part, that looks a lot better. All right, so I flipped the frame around in the workstand, and so now we're looking at the other side of the frame. And we can see there's a bunch of paint transfer and scuffs and scrapes all through here. Some of these are just scrapes in the paint and clear coat. Not sure if you can see these on the camera very well or not, but you can clearly see this paint transfer of red or whatever that is, and brownish colors here. Some other scuffs and scrapes up in here. So we're going to polish that up and see if we can't get that looking a lot better. All right, most of that red's off. I do see some chips in the paint when we got that stuff removed, but not too bad. That seems to look a lot better. All right, so now on this Cannondale logo, we've got some scuffs. This might just look like a shadow on the video there, but you got a scuff there, some white transfers through here, a little bit of black something up there. We'll get that buffed up and see if that'll come off. That looks a lot better. Still a bit of a scuff in there. And this here looks like it went into the sticker actually, which is under the clear coat, so there's not much I'm going to be able to do with that. That looks a lot better. And then as I'm looking here, I noticed the next area to work on. I don't know how well you could see this on camera, but there's more of that yellow paint transfer scuffing all along through here on the bottom of this tube. So we're gonna hit that pretty hard with the polishing compound, see if we can't get that off. And that looks a lot better, like it wasn't ever there. All right, here we are moving back the top tube. We got some crud on here that should come off pretty easily. Got a scuffing coming off through here. Kind of see that line on camera, I think. We got a lot of chips and stuff in the paint, which we'll deal with later. But right now we're just going to go after those areas. So that seemed to come right off. All right, that's done. All right, here we have some more of that gunk right here. We're going to try and get that off. And I see something else right up here we're going to go for as well. See if we can't clean those areas up. Maybe even a little nick right there. All right, those areas look a lot better. See if we can get this gunk better, but it's still stuck there. I need a little more polish here. There we go. It's looking a lot better. All right, this other side of the top tube in the stoker position is an area that needs a lot of work. You can see some of this red paint transfer here, some white scuffs along here, more of the red paint up in here. All these areas need to have some work done on them to get buffed off and polished out. So that's what our task is now, to see if we can't clean that up. Hopefully a little elbow grease will get that squared away. Most of it, not all of it just yet. Well, it seems to look a heck of a lot better. Got the white off of here, the red off in there. I think we're looking pretty good there. Let's see what else we got to hit. So right here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but right there's some scuffs across the paint. I think that's the last major issue we need to hit for scuffs and paint transfer and stuff like that. That needs to come off. So we're going to see if we can work on that, get that cleaned up, and then move on to bigger and better things, I think. All right, so we're going to do the same thing to the fork. The fork doesn't have too many big scuffs on it anywhere or paint transfer, so I think we're good there. But it does have this University of Bloomington sticker on here. See if we can get a better look at that. So it's got a number 11547286 BK, and it's got like this cutout that says void in it, so it can't be stolen from and put on somebody else's bike. So we've got to get that off as well, and then give it a quick polish. May even take this opportunity to take the headset race off, but that might be another time as well. So let's get this cleaned up and see if we can't get that sticker worked on. So we're going to take our scraper here and start with this sticker. Just slowly chip that away. I wonder if rubbing some Goo Gone into it first would loosen it up better. It doesn't really want to come off. It will, but it's not coming off easily. Let's try a little Goo Gone in there and see what it does. Well, my initial thought is I don't think it did a whole lot. Seems like there might be a little bit of adhesive residue left on, so I'll probably use the Goo Gone to get that off. Slowly coming off. It's not come off in very good sized chunks, I'll say that. Maybe we'll try a little bit of the Goo Gone again. Rub some of that in there, see if that helps loosen things up a little bit more. adhesive off better. Use a different edge on my scraper and it seems to dig in a lot better. Almost got all the red off. All right, all the red's off. I'm gonna take that Goo Gone and see if we can't get some of that adhesive off now. That's better. Now we just gotta get that last of the number off. Get this off. Gonna be done with this sticker. All right, I think we got most of that off. Double check a few spots here. That was way more work than it needed to be for a sticker, but we got it off. We'll get the last of the little adhesions or adhesive leftovers off with our Goo Gone on the rag. That looks good. Episode 3, it's all about getting the frame customized and cleaned up and ready to get the parts put back on it. Fortunately, that took way longer than I expected. I think I'm going to break this episode into 3 different parts, maybe more. So now that I've got the frame cleaned up, got all of the gunk off of it, I've got the scuffs buffed out of it, stick around and see what I do next to customize it. Part 2 is all about customizing the frame and making it one of a kind, giving it some highlights. I'll just say that. Stick around and see what I do with that in episode 3, part 2.